Hello and welcome live from Channels Television's global headquarters in the economic nerve center of Nigeria. You're watching Newsroom series. I'm Dominic Iwiwa, and today our focus will be on the southern region. But before we get into that, let's have a look at our top stories making the rounds at the moment. Nigeria has been added to an expanded list of countries partially restricted from travel into the United States from January 1st, 2026. The White House says the ban is intended to protect the security of the United States. On its website, the Trump administration says Nigeria is on the list because of radical Islamic terrorist groups such as Boko Haram and the Islamic State freely operating in certain parts of the country, which, according to them, creates substantial screening and vetting difficulties. Another reason for the ban states that Nigeria had a B1, B2 visa overstay rate of 5.56% and an M&J visa overstay rate of 11.90%. Meanwhile, full entry restrictions are to be imposed on people from Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan and Syria, as well as Palestinian Authority passport holders. Members of the Nigeria Labour Congress and some of their affiliate civil society members have staged a protest in the nation's capital against the lingering insecurity in the country. The members, led by the NLC President Joe Ajero, guided by officials of the DSS, Police and Civil Defense Corps, as they marched along the streets of Abuja. In Rivers State, protesters were at the government house where they were addressed by the permanent secretary of the state government. The labor union in the state embarked on a peaceful march through the Port Harcourt-Aba Express Road from their office, expressing concerns over persistent security challenges and its adverse impact on the safety and livelihoods of Nigerians. In Edo State, the State Council of the NLC has withdrawn from the nationwide protest against insecurity. In an interview with Channels Television, the state's chairman said the timing of the protest is not appropriate, explaining that Edo State serves as a major transit route to several parts of the country, especially during this period of increased travel. He also noted that the Oba of Benin, Oba Ewari II, is currently marking the Ana Igwe Festival, which has attracted a large influx of visitors to Benin City. The NLC chairman, however, maintained that the council supports the protest and will join the action once a more convenient date is announced. Now, condolence visits continue to pour into Bayelsa State following the sudden death of the Deputy Governor, Senator Lawrence Erojakpo. Today, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and the Managing Director of the Niger Delta Development Commission visited the government house in Yenagoa to express sympathy and solidarity with the government and people of Bayelsa State.
How are you?
Bayelsa State remains in deep mourning as more high-profile condolence visits are paid at the government house in Yenagoa, underscoring the national impact of the passing of the Deputy Governor of the state. The latest visitor is the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, who conveys the condolences of President Bola Tinubu and the federal government to the governor and people of Bayelsa State.
Senator Doyediri.
The death of your deputy governor was one that is still shocking to everybody. For those of us who are from the senatorial district, we are even more pained, because we always remember him for, his warm company. And I believe that everybody in Bayelsa, and indeed Nigeria, will miss him, for his invaluable service, to Bayelsa and also to the nation at large. So today, not a day for a long speech, but just first of all to bring special condolences from the President of the country to you, the federal government of Nigeria to you, and to the government and people of Bayelsa State.
The managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission says the death of the Bayelsa deputy governor is personal and institutional. He announces the suspension of the NDDC's end-of-year project commissioning activities in his honor.
The NDDC was supposed to start commissioning of projects in closing of the year, starting from 16th of December, to start with Bayelsa State. But unfortunately, this sad incident took place, and we decided to call off all our activities of commissioning, which was supposed to end this year, because we have to honor the departed deputy governor and also honor Bayelsa State that is also mourning.
Governor Doediri appreciates the show of support, describing the late deputy governor as a man whose life and death will strengthen unity in the state.
God will continue to console the family, console the people of the state and the government of Bayelsa State. I think that this is one event that has actually brought Bayelsans together. This is one event because the calls that I have had, most of which I can't even take, the messages coming from well-meaning Bayelsans and Nigerians. The whole Nigeria is concerned. I mean, if the president himself is issuing a press statement, then we all know that Nigeria is concerned about Bayelsa.
As Bayelsa continues to mourn, the steady stream of condolence visits reflects his lasting impact, service, character, and contribution to governance in the state and the nation.
The national president of the Sheep Owners and Operators Association of Nigeria has commended President Bola Tinubu and Rivers State's Governor Siminalayi Fubara over what they describe as renewed political harmony that is accelerating key infrastructure projects in the state, including the long-awaited Bonny-Bodo Road. Speaking to journalists in Port Harcourt, the association's president said the completion of the Bonny-Bodo Road will unlock massive economic opportunities for Rivers State, particularly in trade, maritime logistics, tourism and industrial development, while easing access to coastal and riverine communities. They also credit the progress recorded on the project to improve cooperation between the Rivers State government and the federal government, noting that years of political tension previously slowed development and affected investment in the marine and blue economy sector. According to the association, the current atmosphere of peace and stability has created a more conducive environment for federal contractors to operate, paving the way for increased federal presence in channel dredging, shoreline protection, coastal road construction, and seaport modernization.
For federal years, the strained relationship between Rivers State and the federal government created a avoidable bottleneck, resulting in delays, political tension, and missed opportunities. These challenges were particularly demanding to the maritime and blue economy sector, where effective federal-state collaboration is critical. Governor Fubara's reconciliation postal has now opened the door to direct federal support, increased investment, improved security coordination, and strong political alignment. This renewed political harmony between Port Harcourt and Abuja has created a conducive environment for federal projects to thrive. The Governor Fubara leadership has ensured peace, stability, and administrative support, allowing federal contractors to operate smoothly across the state. As a result, we are witnessing enhanced federal presence in the key maritime infrastructure areas such as channel dredging, shoreline protection, coastal road development, marine safety, architecture, and seaport modernization. These priority areas from the backbone of this blue economy, they have the capacity to create jobs, attract private sector investment, boost shipping activities, and firmly reposition Rivers State as the gateway to Nigerian ocean economy.
To security issues now, the Department of State Services, DSS, has cautioned religious leaders against teaching and sermons it described as misleading, warning that such messages undermine national security efforts. The security agency said intelligence reports indicate that some religious narratives, whether deliberately or unintentionally propagated, have the capacity to incite fear, spread misinformation, and weaken public cooperation with security agencies.
Nearly a month after a similar event organized by the Nigerian Senate in Port Harcourt, stakeholders from the South-South region under the Arewa community converged to deliberate on solutions to the country's evolving security challenges. The Peace and Security Summit is considered timely and significant, coming against the backdrop of growing mutual distrust and ethnic profiling in different parts of the country.
Our vision is simple, yet powerful. To strengthen collaboration between security agencies, government, leadership, traditional institution, youth group, communities, so that together we can build a safer and more united River State. The summit will allow us to deepen inter-ethnic trust and understanding, promote responsible community participation in security, encourage intelligence sharing between resident and security agencies.
The issue at the gathering goes beyond the Arewa people, as the support of other ethnic groups reflects a common desire for peaceful coexistence in the South-South region.
As an Igbo man, our security challenges is coming from those of land grabbing, because we love development. An Igbo man will come into River State. He will not want to live in Port Harcourt here. He will go to the hinterland to buy and develop. By the time we start developing the place, by the time the place is being developed, group of people will come and say it is their place and they want to demolish. And normally we want to resist. From there, the bridge of peace will come in.
His Excellency believes very strongly that development and security work hand in hand. When communities live together peacefully, government can focus on developments like roads, schools, health care, and opportunities for our young people. When there is trust between government and communities, everyone wins. That is the kind of partnership we want to continue to build with Arewa and with every ethnic group in River State.
For the Department of State Services, security in the region has largely improved, with the federal government taking steps to address economic sabotage and farmer-herder conflicts in some areas. It, however, strongly warned that religious leaders must put an end to misleading teachings so as not to undermine the government's efforts.
I stumbled upon a sermon by one of our religious leaders who is telling his followers that, you see, deployment of security in Nigeria is done tactically and deliberately. Deliberately in the sense that you will see a lot of northern security personnel being posted to the south. He was telling his followers that the essence is for them to protect the northern interest in this part of the country. That is very, very wrong and very misleading. So this kind of comments are misleading, and we should desist from such.
The Peace and Security Summit, which draws several Arewa community leaders alongside representatives of other ethnic groups from within and outside the South-South region, is expected to build the support needed for lasting peace.
Edo State's Governor, Monday Electoral, has pledged to tackle accumulated unpaid salaries and gratuities at Ambrose Ali University Ekpoma, inherited from past administrations. The governor made this assurance during a courtesy visit by the university's management team, led by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Eunice Omozeje, who presented the institution's challenges, including the ₦1 billion salary arrears.
Ali was actually Omozeje. with your narration this morning and what you outlined, I actually believe that the school was actually in Oxygen. I'm very much impressed with the progress you have recorded so far since you came in. I'm in touch with my Commissioner for Education, who is also briefing me the progress in that school. We support the university to see that the school is repositioned again. There are so many things you outlined. The issue of salary of 4.something billion, unpaid salaries, and gratuity. And you mean for 8 years, these things were never paid? The former governor of Edo State, which is very unfair. I don't think it's good. You are working, you are not getting your salary, your gratuity, you are not getting it. I will see, I don't know how we will be able to resolve this, but I will take it as a project. Then the issue of hostels, okay. So we'll see how it goes after the budget tomorrow. Then after we have signed the budget to law, we'll see whether we can pay funds to rescue the school. I want to welcome you once more.
Tensions remain high in Uborodo community, Warri South-West local government area of Delta State, as residents intensify protests against Chevron Nigeria Limited over alleged neglect, marginalization and failure to implement key provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act.
For the second consecutive day, residents of Uborodo continue to occupy facilities of international oil firm Chevron, insisting that their concerns must be addressed before normal operations can resume. The protesters, made up largely of youths and elderly members of the community, say decades of oil and gas activities in their area have not translated into meaningful development in jobs or economic opportunities for indigenes.
We don't have light in this community. We need potable water, we need empowerment, we need job opportunity for the people of the community. We need portable amenities for the communities. They know all of these things. We have itemized all of them and give to the Chevron people. A good salary condition for the workforce. We have established all of these things on a pen and paper for them. But they are here to respond.
Bearing placards, the demonstrators demand fair employment opportunities, recognition of Uborodo as a host community, and full compliance with local content laws. They also expressed dissatisfaction over what they describe as the continued sidelining of the community in major projects. They argue that while thousands of workers are engaged within facilities located in Uborodo, locals are either excluded or offered minimal opportunities compared to outsiders. They insist their action will continue until top management of Chevron Nigeria Limited, alongside the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, visit Uborodo to directly engage with members of the community.
We are here to cry out for federal government to come to our area, because ever since Chevron take over from Gulf, the operation is very rough for the community. We don't benefit anything. During the time of Gulf, we benefit light, we benefit water, employment on daily basis. But when Chevron take over, everything go down, and we keep fighting. Up to date, no response from Chevron.
Though Chevron is yet to make an official statement, residents say they will maintain their presence at the facilities, hoping authorities and company executives will respond swiftly to prevent escalation.
And now, in a major boost to women empowerment and social welfare, 50 indigent women in Cross River State are set to receive free smart homes under the federal government's Renewed Hope Housing Initiative in partnership with the Cross River State government. The initiative, being implemented by the Cross River State Ministry of Housing in collaboration with Family Homes Funds Limited, is aimed at providing not just shelter but dignity, security and sustainable livelihoods for vulnerable women across the state.
Women remain among the most vulnerable when it comes to access to safe and decent shelter. often bearing the harshest consequences of poverty, inequality, and social neglect. For many, the struggle for housing is not just about a roof over the head, but about security, dignity, and survival in the face of economic hardship, displacement, and limited opportunities. This is the reason for this collaboration between the federal and state government to provide smart homes for 50 women in Cross River State and build their entrepreneurship and vocational training skills under the Renewed Hope Housing Initiative.
If you empower a woman, you are empowering homes. When you empower women, you are transforming the whole country. We are believing that this training will not only be just to acquire skill, but a stepping stone towards transforming the Cross River State and even Nigeria, because we hold the women in high respect. We are believing that if we empower them, it will also be good for our nation.
The smart homes are designed to offer safe, modern, and habitable living conditions.
The Family Homes Fund Limited, in collaboration with Cross River State, have graciously built about 50 two-bedroom houses to be given to the indigent women of Cross River State, free, as in free of charge, no other charge attached. And we had thought that it is not just okay to give them houses, we are giving them homes. And this is the reason why we are giving them the entrepreneurship training in tailoring, hairdressing, in beads making, in soap making, and several others, business proposal, small business, so that by the time these indigent women have these houses, they will have a means of livelihood.
So many skills they're going to acquire today. So we call on these women to be serious and become ambassadors tomorrow.
For the beneficiaries, the promise of free smart homes marks a turning point, offering renewed hope, restored dignity, and a pathway to self-reliance.
I am so glad and happy that my name will appear as a beneficiary in this program. We have been suffering, fighting how to pay house rents with the small business we are doing. But I know with this program, everything will be simple for the women and even all the household. I appreciate the governor, even the president. I appreciate our first lady and the commissioner for housing. I appreciate everybody that have joined hands to make this program successful.
The initiative is aimed at ensuring that beneficiaries are economically empowered to sustain their homes and contribute to the socio-economic development of Cross River State.
Now, persons living with disabilities in River State are calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to put in place stronger measures that will guarantee their full participation in the 2027 general elections. The call follows a stakeholders' engagement focused on addressing barriers faced by persons with disabilities during previous elections.
The demand for inclusion by PWDs in River State is contained in a communique signed by cluster heads of various disability groups after a brainstorming session organized by the Stakeholder Democracy Network in collaboration with the River State Ministry of Social Welfare and Rehabilitation. Secretary of the drafting committee, Ifeinwa Dora, urges INEC to fully enforce existing laws protecting the rights of persons with disabilities.
The Independent National Electoral Commission should commence consistent sensitization programs for all security agencies on the management and protection of persons with disabilities before, during, and after the voting process. The River State House of Assembly should domesticate the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Provision Act 2018 and the Electoral Act.
The communique also appeals to the Inter-Party Advisory Council to ensure that political parties actively include persons with disabilities in their decision-making processes and those with political ambitions in line with constitutional provisions.
Inter-Party Advisory Councils, IPACs, should direct all political parties to incorporate persons with disabilities in their decision-making processes, nominate them as candidates, and sponsor their elections in line with relevant provisions of the Constitution Constitution, the Electoral Act, and the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018. The Independent National Electoral Commission should take clear-cut action to enforce provisions in relevant laws that safeguard the right of and ensure a seamless electoral process for persons with disabilities.
On her part, the head of governance at the Stakeholder Democracy Network, Flora Asiri, says the engagement is aimed at strengthening the inclusion of persons with disabilities in Rivers State's electoral processes.
As a civil society organization, we normally, observe elections. So at the different wards and units, we noticed that there were not assistive, aids that the Electoral Act had already covered for persons with disability. So again, after the elections, there was also not the right reporting, mechanism for them to highlight any issues that they must have experienced in the course of the 2023 elections. And this led us to, have further discussions with them. And we saw the gap, and that is what we're trying to bridge, so that this won't repeat itself come 2027.
Representatives of various disability groups attended the session held under the Strengthening Inclusion and Participation Project to examine challenges encountered during past elections and propose practical solutions to improve participation ahead of the next electoral cycle. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
And that's where we drop the anchor on this edition of Newsroom Series. I'm Dominic Iwu. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.